Now to Ukraine, which says it has liberated 8 settlements since its counteroffensive began earlier this month. A Russian-installed official has made a rare admission. The Ukrainian forces recaptured the southern village of Piatykhatky. Meanwhile, Moscow says its soldiers have repelled Ukrainian advances in the country's east. Both sides are suffering heavy casualties in the fighting. That's according to British intelligence. Alongside the war of attrition on the ground in Ukraine, a parallel digital conflict, the so-called wizard war, is seeing Ukrainians harness the power of drones, robots, and more. And it's private U.S. companies at the cutting edge of tech that are supplying the latest software to help on the battlefield. We have this look now at how artificial intelligence is making its way into modern warfare.
This is a high-tech robotics unit. Ukrainian soldiers and volunteers who signed up last year via Twitter. Their workshop is this basement, the minor wizards of the Wizard War. This platoon is engaged in reconnaissance with the help of quadcopters and reconnaissance with the help of wings. We also deal with drops, improvised explosive devices, and ground and airstrike drones. But Ukraine has now, for months, had access to much more than its own soldiers' ingenuity. US-based commercial firms like Palantir provide a range of battlefield intelligence services based largely on satellite imagery. Soldiers in the field can use mobile units, assisted by artificial intelligence tools, to let them know what the enemy is doing before the enemy knows what they are doing. That allows Ukrainians to target enemy forces they couldn't otherwise see. The computer systems learn from each mistake. Also known as machine learning, a key part of artificial intelligence development. So, is it AI in action on the battlefield?
I think the trouble begins with the term AI. I mean, what is AI? We know that the goalposts with which we define what AI is are constantly moving. What I would say is that for sure we have seen some very, very interesting, innovative, things happening in Ukraine with regard to using software and using modern communications infrastructure for surveillance, intelligence, and especially also targeting purposes. So, the kill chain, which means basically the amount of time that you have between detecting a possible target and then engaging that target and trying to destroy it, that has, been sped up considerably on the Ukrainian side because they're just so smart with regard to using, for instance, drones and using smartphones and using other devices they were able to, shrink this amount of time to, mere seconds. Whereas Russia still takes a long time with their targeting and with detecting targets and then engaging them.
And yet, much of what the world sees is pictures like this, artillery duels that seem to stretch on for months, troops dug into trenches on both sides, a style of warfare that's largely similar to World War I over 100 years ago, a far cry from the Wizard's workshop, or slick Silicon Valley promotional videos. There are also questions about the wisdom of relying on private companies like Palantir or SpaceX, which provides Starlink, the satellite tech that allows Ukrainian units to communicate on the battlefield. What if these companies offer their services to the other side? What happens when Russia and China learn from what's happening now and develop their own systems? Right now, the world's militaries are watching Ukraine's resistance closely. As the future of war takes shape, while on the ground, it still looks a lot like the past.
More, we're joined now by military analyst Marina Myron. She's with the War Studies Department at King's College London and joins us today from Munich. Marina, is it safe to say that, at least for now, Ukraine does have the technological edge over Russia in this war?
Good morning, Terry. Well, depends on which areas we compare. For instance, in terms of air power, one would say that Russia probably has the upper hand, but we've heard now in the report about AI-assisted technologies, and certainly Ukraine has been bolstered in terms of its technological capabilities vis-a-vis Russia in this specific domain. That being said, Russia is now also trying to introduce AI-based weapons to be used in its so-called special military operations, such as its air defense system S-350 Vitas, which is allegedly AI-assisted and that can shorten the kill chain, was still an operator giving the command to destroy the target.
How much of a difference is AI technology making on the battlefield in Ukraine, in your estimation?
It is very difficult to say right now in terms of the difference that AI makes. We can only assume that it can increase the operational tempo and shorten the said kill chain, because a kill chain is a process. Essentially, you find the target, then you watch the target's movements, then before engaging, there are 5 stages. So before the target is destroyed, and this is all done by kind of different units. When you use AI in that specific scenario, AI is able to process the data on the target much faster and decide whether to engage the target or not, meaning that it exceeds the capabilities of human operators. The problem is, of course, the target itself. Has the AI identified the correct target, and what happens if there is collateral damage, if the target is identified in a wrong way? So for now, what we're seeing is that the AI being used on the battlefield gives an edge, but there is still a human operator, which kind of slows everything down, but ensures the safety of the use of such algorithms.
What about the information and propaganda front surrounding this war? We're seeing a lot of disinformation. Is AI playing a significant role there as well?
Well, at least from the Russian side, AI can speed up the process in generating disinformation, and perhaps it is much safer to let AI do the job than giving AI control over certain weapon systems, because there is no collateral damage per se, except that AI can generate huge amounts of information to flood the information space in such a way that a human being is not able to distinguish what is true and what is not. And Russia has been used AI, and we know the troll farms on Twitter. We've seen many examples of that being used as part of its information war against Western countries. And I think as we go forward, the use of AI for such specific purposes will only increase.
Marina, thank you very much. As always, that was Marina Miron from King's College London.
Thank you for having me.